Hearing yourself on stage has been an issue for musicians since people started performing. Xvive have decided to combat this problem by releasing this great little product here, which is called the PX System. Now, this is basically a 3-channel personal mixer. And what you can do is, using this breakout cable here, you can plug in 3 inputs into there and monitor them from your pocket pack here that you could clip to your belt and run in-ear monitors into. Now, that's a really great tool, and there's plenty of use cases for this. So for example, you might have, running out of your mixer, you might have your click track, and you might have a band mix, and you might have a specific vocal mix coming down the 3 channels, right? And so you can then just turn up what you need based on what you need to hear on your pack there. And that's really, really convenient. A couple of other cool features that this has is that inside the battery compartment here, I have got little dip switches there to be able to turn this into mono or stereo. Now that might be useful, for example, if you want to do a click in one ear and, I don't know, your keyboard player in the other ear whilst your vocals were up the center. That can be a good way to spread the sound around in your ears so that you don't have to turn things up as much because they're separated. Lots of great things that have been thought about. This little breakout box here comes with this Cat5 cable that we can enable this to be near the mixing desk, whereas this then runs from that cable to your belt buckle and you clip it on there and you plug your headphones in. Now that's all good if you've got a mixer that has multiple outputs. But this got me to thinking, most of us are not always doing gigs where we have a mixer with multiple outputs, and I might not be able to get 3 individual auxiliary sends off my mixer to be able to plug this in and use it in the way that it is desired to be used. So I started thinking, what are some other ways that I could use this that might give me a much more simple mix, but I would be able to still get that blend of myself or my guitar or whatever I needed. So I thought about making a short little video here about just trying to say, here's a way that I think that may not be being thought of if this is being used. Now the first way is, let's say I have my guitar and I have got a small mixer that really only has 1 auxiliary out, but I want to have that auxiliary out going, say, to 2 different people, or also to a fallback for my band to hear, but I still want control over my own vocal. There are some other little additions to this that you could grab that might make this a really, really useful tool for even small time performance. So something like this XLR splitter, or this splitter for guitars. This is just literally a 1 in 3 out splitter for my guitar, and it literally just copies the output. I could put this at the end of my signal chain and have, say, my acoustic guitar that went to the PA, but then I also had a copy of the signal that went directly into my Xvive PX system here. That would enable me to be able to have my microphone coming off my mic, splitting into one of these inputs for my Xvive, and also then going straight to my desk. Then I would have a direct control of my own vocal in my headphones without it affecting what's at the desk. And I think that's really useful for those of us who are doing, say, a small solo acoustic gig or something where you don't necessarily have access to a mixer that has lots of different auxiliary outputs. Another great use case for this might be to use it in a home studio. Sometimes in a home studio, we don't have access to a full kind of outboard headphone mix, but we might have to set up our drummer in the lounge room whilst we are being able to record everything in our home studio room slash garage slash wherever we're recording it. But something like this would be a great tool for a home studio because it would enable you to have, say, a talkback mix and a drum mix and a whole band mix that you could send to your drummer in the other room without having to install a whole nother system, you know, a headphone mix system or anything into your home studio. And it is all relatively small. So in the box, you get this belt pack, you get this breakout cable, you get this Cat5 cable, and you get these little adapters here. And that is your whole headphone mix there. if you were to bring in some other little splits like this to set up for your solo gig, it's a really small system and a really portable system. No one doing a solo gig wants to carry too much gear, and so this is a really great way, I thought, to be able to use a in-ear monitor mix without having a complicated mixer or a big amount of gear that you'd have to bring. Xvive have thought of a bunch of situations where this would be useful, and they put that in their little manual that comes with this. But they've also thought about the ability to power this by a battery, by 2 AAA batteries in the side here, or via a power supply that you can plug into this breakout cable, and then it powers it via the Cat5 cable, which I think is a great idea, because there is something scary about relying on batteries at a gig, and sometimes you have it in the back of your mind, oh, did I change my batteries? And if you're running it on power, it is very useful for that. But as a tool, I think that this is a great addition to a big system. But I think that it's really, really awesome in a small system with a couple of little extra pieces of gear to be able to use this as a personal monitor mix for yourself for any gig, from a solo acoustic gig to a wedding gig to a local pub gig. Whatever it is, you'd be able to get a decent mix for yourself and hear yourself using the Xvive PX. So if you're in the market for an IAM system but don't want to spend ridiculous amounts of money and don't want to bring heaps of different gear to your gig, this might be the perfect thing for you to go and check out. As always, thanks for watching Noisegate. We'll see you next time.